Hey, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. What up guys, this is your one and only Monkey Figure Reviews. Once again, I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. Hope you are enjoying your time with your families and friends, or if not, taking a break watching this video. Now before I get started, I would just like to remind everyone that I am currently doing a giveaway. I'm giving away some One Piece Ichiban Kuji artboards on two of my main platforms, YouTube and Instagram. So if you have no idea what's going on, this is your first time hearing this, all you gotta do is just go to my previous video, this one, the giveaway video, click on it, watch it. All the instructions and information are in there, so you can stand a chance to win one of these really cool artboards. I'll announce the winner at the end of the week. Now, back to our main topic today. As you can see, we will be talking about the BWFC entries for One Piece this year. So, what is going on now is that the BWFC 10th anniversary competition is happening, ongoing as of this moment. And this year's lineup is of 4 figures. As you can see in front of you, it is Gear 4 Luffy, Ace, Zoro and Luffy. So apparently, because this is the 10th anniversary, which I'm very surprised by the way, I thought it's just 5 or 6 years, they have decided to do sort of a BWFC collab with SMSP scale. So all of them are supposed to be on the SMSP scale, the Super Master Stars piece, which a lot of people were kind of doubtful at the start. We aren't really sure because you can't really tell. You have this Gear 4 Luffy, which is supposed to be huge, and you throw this guy in with the mix of this normal size characters, and everyone gets confused. Also, Luffy and Zoro over here are just crouching down. They are bending downwards. You can't really see. So I guess we can only really tell once they release the official heights, or if you see them in real life. Now, just a little bit of background information. These are the 4 sculptors: Guraish, Varrock, Noriyuki, Yamaguchi, Yutafuke. So all of them are, I think all of them, maybe except Guraish, are very experienced sculptors. They have done a lot of figures for One Piece. You can check out their resume online. Some of them are my favorites, and it's not a surprise. I guess they are trying to get a really star-studded lineup this year for us. And you can go to Brampesto's BWFC's official website to vote for them or vote for their art piece, their sculpts, until the 12th of Jan next year. You can vote once per day, and at the end of the whole duration, it will be tally up to decide the fan award. Now, let's talk about the figures, the main thing. So this is by Guraish. This is Gear 4 Luffy in Wano, using a double-fisted Kongan. And I gotta say, when I first saw this, I was a little bit unconvinced because I don't really like the face. And to me, it just seems that the angle of the figure is a little bit off. The proportions of the figure is a little bit off, but I'll get to that later. Let's just talk about generally how this is. You can see Luffy's face here, and he has a really bloated torso, and both of his arms are in the Kongan mode. And the top part over here, as usual, is coated with haki, and this time around it is painted with this red and blackish paint, similar to what we saw in the POP. And at the bottom, you can see he's wearing his Wano outfit. He has his sword here, and once again, it is supported by all this steam and smoke that comes out of him, especially when he changes gears. So this is a close-up, and this is the face. To me, it's just not exactly what I envision, or rather, what I remember how Gear 4 Luffy's face looked like. It's a bit roundish, and I think the eyes are also a little bit off. I'm not 100% sure. It's just, it's just kind of like your gut feeling, just when your first impression when you look at this. Other than this, you can see the straw hats at the back, and this unusually thick rope that is tying the hats around his neck, especially when compared to the size of the hat. It looks a little bit weird from this angle, and you can also see the scar on his body. It is enlarged because of his bloated body. And I think this photo makes it really clear that he just looks really weird. It's like his hair is in a weird direction, the flow, and his neck is unnecessarily thick. The angle of his face just seems to be not that good. I'm not sure if you guys see the same thing as I am, but this is how I feel. This is the back of the figure, and you can see the haki effect. It's really, really nice. It's beautiful. I dig this reflective effect all the way down to the swirls, the kind of tattooish look. And also you can see his top knot is here. It's kind of hard to tell. But overall, if you just look at over here, his neck just seems to be, I don't know, like broken in a weird angle. I don't really like that. Most of the photos that you can find of this guy, he just looks a little bit off. So you can see his sword is also painted with gold. So this is the Nidai Kitetsu, if I remember the name correctly. And over here as well. Now another thing that I am not too happy about, or I'm critical about, is that it seems that the proportion of the body is also off, in a sense that his arms are a little bit too skinny compared to the size of his head, his neck, and his upper body. It just looks a little bit too skinny. I mean, when I'm looking at this, I think about the Ichiban Kuji Kongan figure that I have, and that figure is very, very well proportioned, and it just looks very natural to what we see in the source material. Here I would just think that if his arms are a little bit bigger, the Kongans are a little bit bigger, he will look much more menacing and much more awesome. Okay, so this is the back. Now this is done by Varrock, and again it is Luffy from Wano. My first impression of this figure was that I didn't really like the size of Luffy in terms of he's supposed to be much more muscular in Wano, but over time I still kind of appreciate how good this Luffy is, to the extent that I actually voted for this guy, my first votes yesterday. And a lot of people also said that this pose is very similar to the POP, which I cannot deny. It is pretty much one hand pointing outwards and the other hand swinging the sword. And I think you guys can see really this Luffy's face is much, much more better than this POP. This is just much more accurate. Here is just the eyebrows, and I don't know, it seems a little bit off, which is disappointing. This is a close-up, and you can see the details on the face. It has the very youthful Luffy look, and the details on the hair, the top knot, are amazing. You can also see some details on the straw hat. For the head itself is not as detailed as the Gear 4 one, but the hair is definitely better than the Gear 4. This is another angle, and what I mean is that he's a little bit too skinny in terms of his muscular mass, and from what we saw in the manga, the source material, Luffy gets really, really buff. He gets really muscular in Wano. So if they could have done that for this figure, I think it will be perfect. It will be amazing. I like the pose. It's dynamic, but of course it's nothing new since we have seen it in the POP, and also somewhat similar to the Ichiban Kuji. But over here you can see the flow of his kimono to show movement towards the back and the front as well. This is another angle. I guess since this is the 10th anniversary, they would put more effort into the details like the shading, different color contrast across the same piece of cloth. The muscle details are pretty good too. I'm not sure if the actual product there wouldn't be seam lines on the arms, which is what we usually see with half naked figures. Here you can see more details on the straw hat. The little damage done by Buggy is very obvious here. This is another angle. All in all, it looks really good. And what I really like is just that it's the likeness. I think it's been a while since we get a Luffy that really looks like Luffy. And I think I can say that this is very close to Oda's style, in my opinion. This is the back view. I feel that obviously this is much more the style of this figure is much more clean compared to the Kongan Gear 4, which is going for more realism. Alright, this is Ace, and you can see it's also going for the realistic style. I personally don't like this figure. It is done by Noriyuki Yamaguchi, and I'll explain why later. But overall you can see that Ace is either blocking out the sun or giving a wave and sort of looking towards the side. And the overall color scheme of this figure just seems to be a little bit of less contrast, less bright. There's a bit more darker tones along the muscles, the clothes, even on the hat. So this is the close-up. I don't think that he looks like Ace, but it could be me. When I look at his face, my first thought was he looks like those typical J-pop idol in Japan with the long silky hair and this little smirk. Yeah, it just doesn't look like Ace to me. But if I were to ignore the face, the details seems to be really good, especially on this translucent necklace he's wearing, and even on the details on the string of his hat. This is another angle. He doesn't really look like Ace, guys. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you guys see for this figure. And you can see for this figure they are really going a lot along the shading route, a lot on the head, along the muscles, even around the arms, the hands, and the details all looks pretty good. This is another angle. Some more details on Jolly Roger on his back, tattoo, and also the bag that he carries. The hat looks really good. You can almost touch the texture, the leather texture that is on it. This is another shot. Yeah, this is a simple pose, so I guess it loses points for that from me. And likeness wise is just not that good. The knife seems to be really cool though, like this metal part, the handle, the details on it. And to me it just seems that the shading is a little bit overdone. It's almost like someone edited the photos to enhance it. Another angle. We get a ugly seam line here, unfortunately. Some veins along his arms. I think I missed that in the previous photos. Last but not least, this is Zoro Juro. Now, when I first saw the prototypes, I thought he was the best, but ultimately I still kind of like the Luffy's face better, so I voted for that one. Let's talk about this figure. You can see Zoro. He is half naked, showing off his great physique, his muscles, and he's pulling out the sword, or looks like he's pulling out the sword from his Wado Ichimonji. And his other two swords, Shusui and Sandai Kitetsu, is strapped to his side. This is his Wano outfit, as you can see, and he's also having his top knot. This is a close-up. The face is pretty much very well done. I like this part of the vein that just shows a little bit more aggression and anger on Zoro's face. His mouth seems to be really good too. His eyes looks really fierce. I think just by looking at this picture, contrast this to Ace, and you can see that here they are going for much more lighter colors, even for the hair and for this part of his attire. Looks a little bit more pastel with the colors, and here you can see the scars and all these lines. All these lines make it look like it's going for also the manga drawing kind of style, especially around his his armpits here, around his muscles. The definitions are marked with all these strokes. Even on the sword, it's quite obvious too. This is a different angle. He looks really buff, insane. Looks so good. And other details on the sword, on the kimono, you can see all these little strokes. Just makes it look very manga-ish, almost very similar to the early King of Artists styles. A close up on his face. Looks like there will also be a seam line here, and probably on the other arm. We'll see later if we get a shot. This is him. He looks kind of funny here, like he's just forcing out a shit. This is the other side. Woo! Wow, look at that. Look at those bulging muscles. Man, I wish I'm that good looking. This is the back. Oh, do you guys see that? This nasty little line there. I hope that it's not so obvious in the final product. It looks like someone broke it or something and they glued it back. Damn, that's nasty. So I really hope it's not there, because otherwise if they try to hide it around the muscles, it looks a lot better. The colors of the swords look really bright and stand out in front of this backdrop. Looks beautiful and a little bit more details than usual. This is the back. Yeah, once again the line here is very obvious. His back muscles, his top knot here. You can see the wood carvings, the lines on his slippers. That's all I have, guys. It's just these 4 figures, these 4 entries for this year's competition. So I guess after the competition ends, somewhere along next year, they will be made into figures. And I hope all of them get made into figures, because I'm pretty sure every single one of them will have their own fans. Which is very sad, because I think last year, or was it this year, one of the figures didn't get made into a final product. I think it was Don Craig, which is such a waste, because he looks amazing. Everything about him looks amazing except probably the size, and he's probably the only figure of him who you'll really ever get, but I guess not anymore. No more Don Craig. I personally will gun for Luffy and Zoro, but once again we'll have to see how they look like, the size and everything, the quality, and maybe this Gear 4 Luffy, I think potentially he can look good displayed together with the Ichiban Kuji Kongan. With that said, I don't think they'll be cheap, but they're not Ichiban Kuji, so we can't really foresee the price. We will have to wait for official news to come out. Also, as amazing as these figures have been, I'm just not really sure I can trust Banpresto / Bandai Spirits anymore to produce quality figures. They have let me down so much this year, and even though there are figures that I look forward to, they still amazing figures, I mean amazing prototypes, they somehow just decide to ruin it at the end in the final products. Let me know what you guys think about all these figures. I always love to hear all your opinions and to discuss it with you guys, what you like, what you don't like, and see where we go from there. I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you and goodbye.